She has been a shining star since the 70s, and the roles she's played make her unforgettable. Now her star power is lighting up the holidays in Ladies of the 80s, A Divas Christmas. Take a look.
5 legendary divas.
If she's doing the show, I'm not.
Together at last.
Fasten your facelifts, ladies. It's going to be a bumpy weekend.
Yes, please welcome to TV Icon Morgan Fairchild.
Thank you. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Welcome, Morgan. First of all, from our family to yours, happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you. Thank you, and to you too. And that lady with the hair, I mean, she would fit right in the 80s. She could be in a hairband from the 80s.
Right.
I thought our people photoshopped that. I cannot believe that's a real picture. But yes, the 80s would have been perfect for her. Now, I have to ask you, Thanksgiving is coming up. And, you know, your new Lifetime movie, Ladies of the 80s, A Divas Christmas. I have to ask you, what are you most thankful for this holiday season?
You know, I'm very, very thankful for a lot of things this year. Unfortunately, my fiance passed away in July.
Oh, sorry.
And he had Parkinson's, but actually died of long COVID from heart attacks. And I had just finished this movie the week before. I'm very grateful that we got the movie in before the strike. And then I had a play to go to out of town, which got me out of town. And I was working through the strike, unlike many of my friends, and distracted from what I was going through. And then Paul Rubens died, and Suzanne Summers died, and then Mathew Perry died. So it's been a weird year. Yeah. And I've been very, very grateful and say a prayer every day to God. Thank you for the work. Thank you for keeping me going and keeping me healthy. Thank you for everything you have given me, because I'm still here.
Yeah.
and hanging in.
Yeah. When you're surrounded by a lot of loss, sometimes you can be even more grateful for your aliveness, which is amazing.
Exactly.
Absolutely. Well, your co-star Linda Gray was on our show last week, and she mentioned that female actors of a certain age get fewer opportunities to work. And I wondered, have you ever experienced ageism?
Oh, certainly. I think every woman in Hollywood has. I mean, if you're over 25, there's a certain amount of ageism. I mean, it's very funny when you see these guys who are 60 with girlfriends on screen who are 25. But there is a certain amount of ageism. Yeah, there always has been in the business. And even though, people have become aware of it and there's a lot more going on with the unions and with things trying to make sure that it's minimized, it's still always there. And it even starts early. I remember one of my first big miniseries, I was doing a thing based on a Harold Robbins miniseries called The Dream Merchants, which he did The Carpetbaggers and all of those. And this was the early days of Hollywood from 1912 to 1928. And I was playing the Joan Crawford character, but I have to age from 1912 to 1928. And I was 28 years old at the time. And fortunately for me, the producers, just as I was leaving the room, having gone through a couple of auditions and given the job, told I had the job, and those days they did that, somebody said, "How old are you?" And I said, 28. And suddenly they said, "Oh, you may be too old to play the younger part."
Wow.
So I just, fortunately, they said that while I was still in the room. I said, "Honey, was I too old 5 minutes ago?"
Yes, Fairchild. Check.
You liked what I was doing then.
Yes. Love what you're doing now.
I just have to give it back to them,
Thank you.
But I was fortunate I was in the position to hear them say that before they decided not to cast me.
Thanks for you.
Because I was too old at 28.
Good Lord.
Yeah, we should have followed that up with, but this face card does not decline, okay?
What?
Your face card does not decline. The face card, child.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, honey. I'll work at it.
So
these old glamour girls, we hang in. We're old broads hanging on by the skin of our teeth.
I love her.
That's awesome.
Well, you mentioned that you had, this has been a season of loss.. I just want to know what you remember about Mathew Perry.
Oh, You know, I always flash back to that first day on the set when I was on. The show had not been on that long, and it wasn't a big hit yet. I was the first celebrity they brought on to, to have a part on it. And when I took the part, I just remember Cicely Tyson had called me and said, "You're too young to play that guy's mother. He's a grown man." And I'd been playing teenagers, and I said, "Cicely, at some point we all have to make this transition to playing older ladies." And I'd seen the show. I thought it was good. Hey, I was right. But the first day on the set, Mathew comes running over to me, as only Mathew could. This very tall, kind of gangly and very happy puppy dog comes bounding over to me and says, "Oh, you won't remember me, but I used to hang out on the Flamingo Road and Falcon Crest sets with you, with my dad." And I said, "Who's your dad?" And he said, "John Bennett Perry." And I said, "Oh my God, you're Johnson? You're that little kid that was on our set?" And I didn't realize. And then I thought, well, I guess I am old enough to play this kid's mother. He was hanging out on my set.
Morgan, thank
and
you.
he was just,
yes.
He was so charming. He was so charming, so fun to work with. He was so quick. And, and I've worked with quick people. I've worked with Robin Williams. I've worked with Rodney Dangerfield. I've worked with a lot of good comedians who were very quick. But Mathew, he would take a really good script, because they always had good writers, and just add that little twist to it, that little twinkle in the eye, that little edginess that made it go from
Morgan,
really
we're heading
funny
to a break.
hysterical.
I am so sorry.
Especially with the Mathew Perry story, we gotta go.
I apologize.
Oh, no.
DBL Nation, you can see Morgan and Ladies of the 80s, A Divas Christmas on December 2nd on Lifetime. And so sorry for your
Gotta
loss,
have you back.
Morgan.
Absolutely.
Please, I apologize.
It's okay. Thanks.
Awesome.